It's hot outside. It's hot in here. And guess what? It's even hot inside my base. I gotta cool some things down. So that's what's going on here in the Ultimate Automation Challenge. In the last episode here, we got this hydrogen cooling system up and running, which means I can produce some plastic. And as we've seen, I've been able to produce enough plastic to make a couple ladders to get my duplicates up and moving around. But here's the big problem that I have going on now. It's still just too hot inside my base. Too hot. Look at all this. Look at all this red. It's about time that I load this thing up with some cooling loops and just start to cool the base down. And while I'm up here working with these pipes, I should really come on over here and take a look at this steam geyser and tap on into this source of water. Matter of fact, if you look at it, you can see the steam over here. It is 5.5 kilograms a second at a ridiculous temperature of 110 degrees Celsius. Eruption period, though, is 257 seconds for every 713 seconds. So really, that's actually a pretty good source of water. So that's what I got to do. I got to come up here and tap into this water and make use of it because I don't have a ton of it left down here. And you always need water, especially if it's hot outside. So let's figure this thing out. For loops and cooling loops and all of that fun stuff, I do have enough refined metal to go ahead and make just a couple of loops. Now, what do I want to do for this? You see, I need to come up with a system that's going to allow me to create several radiator loops that I can then take and pipe whatever cold liquid I have up here out and then into a couple of radiators that's going to, transfer the heat from the hot to the cold around here, or, whatever, and then bring it back. So in order to have enough of that stuff, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have enough petroleum, because petroleum it allows us to go, really, really low on the temperature. So the liquid I want to use for this is going to be petroleum. It can go all the way down to negative 57.1 degrees Celsius, even though I don't think I'll get that far. I could probably just go with crude oil and it'd be just fine with that. But the point is I want to use some liquids that are not going to freeze inside the pipes. I have a lot of refined copper now, so I'm going to go ahead and create a radiator liquid loop. And this is going to be a loop that's going to allow me to build up quite a bit of liquid. Maybe I don't really want to build up too much liquid. How do I want to play this? If you guys can hear stuff blowing up in the background, there's a lot of fireworks going on at the moment. So, what do I need? All right, so what do I need? 1, 2, 3. So that's 50 kilograms of liquid. I tell you what, let's go ahead and do 100 kilograms of liquid. So inside of here is going to be a thermal sensor, and I'm basically just going to do the exact same thing I did for the gas, except for this time it's going to be liquid. You know what? 9 fits pretty good right there. There we go. And then going into it, I'm just going to use a bislite pipes. They won't look insulated, so just in case you're wondering, it's just going to be a bislite. And then thermal sensor right there with the liquid shut off. Alright, so this pipe here is going to be cold out. Now, what do I want to cool? I want to liquid cool probably that area there. What are my main centers? You got this equipment here. You've got the kitchen. Tell you what, the bathrooms here look like a good place to cool some stuff down. Alright, so there's my first radiator. This is gonna get crazy. The spaghetti is going to be ridiculous by the time I am done here. Alright, well, I've run out of abyssite very, very quickly, so I have to do some more digging. Which is okay, because I need to do a lot more digging over here anyhow. So the more I look at this, the more it becomes, where can I actually fit a liquid shutoff valve? And that kind of determines where I can actually go and start to cool things down. One of the other things I can do is take this hydrogen system and actually move it inside of here so that it runs off the thermal nullifier instead of just kind of running in the atmosphere of this cold biome, which is okay, but it isn't going to stay cold forever. I've received several questions about refined metals and their thermal conductivity. Well, if you take a look at copper here, it has thermal conductivity of 60. If we also look for, let's say, wolframite was another one. If we take a look at wolframite, that is just a raw ore, that is 15. But if you refine it into tungsten, its thermal conductivity goes up to 60. And steel here, which is refined, is 54. So they're not all the same, but all of the refined metals have a higher thermal conductivity. At least from what I'm seeing there. I think plastic is also ridiculous as well. Nope, they changed plastic. Plastic used to have a very, very high thermal conductivity, and now it's no longer that high. That's something to keep in mind there. Oh, naphtha. Naphtha used to be so cool because you could like stack it vertically and we could do all sorts of weird stuff with it. No longer. Now it's like a pointless liquid, but if you end up with naphtha, you're kind of screwed. Unless you like turn it into natural gas or something. You can turn plastic into natural gas. Oh, whoa, hang on, whoa! You can turn it into infinite power? Infinite power? Hold up. Hold up. Hold the phone. 500 grams a second of plastic. If heated, hang on. Can I produce plastic, heat it up in something like a volcano, create natural gas, and end up with a positive energy exchange? Everything seems to convert at 1-to-1. So 500 grams a second of natural gas would get me how many watts? Oh, you know where we're going now. Welcome to the Google Docs. All right, hang on. Let's see here. Where is natural gas generator? There it is. That consumes 60. Is it still 60? I think this thing is a little out of date. Yeah, that's 90 now. Polluted water, it's the same. Carbon dioxide. Nope, changed. Darn it, everything's changing. You know how annoying it was to make that entire spreadsheet? Super annoying. And now I get to make it again. 800 watts, okay. Awesome. 500 divided by 90. No, that's an equal sign. Means I can run 5.56 natural gas generators. Equals 4,444.44 watts. Wait a minute. All right, it's getting interesting now. So if I take that, running at full capacity, melt it down, turn it to natural gas, figure out how to cool it back down. I mean, there's a few things that make this a little bit more difficult. Is it more powerful to do that? Do I get more out of that than running it through consumes at 833.33, using crude oil, emitting 5? You know what? That isn't a good thought, because when you go from crude oil to petroleum, it drops it by half, and then you get another reduction going from petroleum to plastic. So going from plastic back to natural gas doesn't make sense because you can go from crude oil to natural gas. And you just get a whole lot more natural gas out of it. Plus, you'd skip a million steps that consume power and time and effort, and it was fun, though. For a moment there, I thought I might have had something. All right, so how's the plumbing system running? It is going well. We're just going to go up and build over. And I'm just going to empty these because I don't need them. All right, so I've added another exosuit dock over here, simply because I've got a lot of work going on over here on the left, so I might as well bring in another duplicant to do some more work, at least in this area, as far as the amount of people that can be in that area. I might actually bring in another duplicant to bring the population up to 6. It would be kind of nice to have another duplicant in here. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. So far, I'm doing pretty good with just 5 dupes. And I kind of like having a smaller population, because it shows just how efficient things can be with an automated system. Now, I am only supplying sedimentary rock over here to these hatches. And the reason is I'm trying to build up more and more stone hatches instead of sage hatches. I really don't need those. Matter of fact, I'm just going to get rid of them. And I'm going to mark sage hatch and the egg cracker as continuous, which means I can make the omelet continuous. Ha! Take that, sage hatches. Here's the other thing. I'm going to disable food, which is just raw meat. Where is it? Yeah, get rid of that. And we're going to make some nice, tasty soul food, which is barbecue. Man, barbecue is good. I want some more barbecue. All right, so focusing on my cooling loop. This is my return line. So once the water has the oil has heated up, this is going to be its path back. just like so. Here's another thing I can do, is I can ship the refined metals right out of here and just bring them over to the automated storage retrieval system over here. That system is finally getting up and running the way it should be. So this is kind of a feed line here, and then from there everything else gets sorted out. It still needs some like work on the other end, but so I'm making my way up to the cool steam vent. See, Bubbles is working her way through all of the abyssite and everything up there, and constructing the ladder, which I'm making out of granite, which is readily available around here. So that'll be pretty cool to have that. So it won't be too long, and I'll be able to do a little bit of research on this. And luckily, since she's already in an exosuit, this won't be a problem in here, even though it's quite hot. And then once I'm down in here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of encapsulate this geyser so that I can keep all of the water and everything in one spot. So long as I actually have enough abyssite to do that. I guess I could just do an insulated tile and kind of run with that. You can see the thermal conductivity of an insulated tile, in this case sandstone. And there was a comment over here talking about this as well. So Alex here was actually talking about this. And insulated stuff, so pipes and tiles, they're 0.1 the conductivity of what they would be normally. So even though they do require a little bit more to build, that's actually quite good. So here you can see he's explaining that 0.29 instead of 2.9 is good for sandstone. But abyssite has the regular conductivity of 0.000001. It's still more effective to use just normal abyssite pipes over insulated pipes of sandstone. So one thing you can do is if you were using abyssite or insulated abyssite, you're basically using 1% of nearly nothing. So it's an incredibly low amount. So that gives you some sort of idea. I can easily go ahead and go inside of here and just use, let's say, sandstone insulated, and just kind of make a border around that, and that should not let out too much heat. Or I could just use a normal abyssite tile. So let's see here. Granite is available, and you can see its thermal conductivity is 3.39, so I can go 0.03, and that should be just fine. I tell you what, I'm going to get rid of my radiant gas pipe here. It was a fun idea, but now that I have access to liquid and liquid cooling, I think that's a better option for what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just going to go back to using the hydrogen only for the farm down here, because it looks like I'm starting to have more problems with the farm again. And you can see that that's worked out well. I was able to cool this farm down and get it up and running again. I was starting to, lose calories, which is not good. So one of the problems I'm having is that the plastic that's going through here is actually starting to heat up the same area that I'm running this radiant gas pipe. I was kind of wondering what in the world was going on there, and now that I see it, it's definitely that plastic. You can see this contains a bunch of plastic at 47.9 degrees Celsius, which is kind of high. There's been several comments talking about how I should put a natural gas generator over here and have it continuously produce ice. And I think that's a really, really good idea, because the temperature at which the natural gas generator is the temperature that it outputs water, which is an excellent way to create something with a lot of thermal mass at a very low temperature, which is very, very useful for cooling things down. I'm not going to move this one right now because I kind of like the system the way it is, while being nice and compact. However, in the future here, I probably will try to put something over there, probably when I get into slime processing. There's a lot of things I'd like to do in the polluted oxygen or the germ sort of stuff over here on the left, because the cold temperatures is actually going to help kill off some of those germs. Not to mention, I might just want to run the whole automated storage retrieval system out of this thing if I can get enough metal. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little bit of a day cycle here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on kind of the opposite of when these doors open up. Actually, I heard you can flip. Oh. I heard a tip here from John that if I flip or rotate the polymer presses to the other side, it might just fall off and I don't need to have the door there at all. So let me go ahead and deconstruct this top one and see if it works. If I go like that, if it actually will drop it in the next tile over. So I only want this to be active for, let's say, 5% and at 50% time. That way it's kind of on the opposite. What it's doing is it's going to give it some time to cool down before I go and convey it out. Because what's inside of here is very, very cold. We got a lot of water, we have a lot of ice. I'd like to make use of that before I convey plastic out at a high temperature. Hey! We've made our way into the steam geyser. Let's go ahead and analyze this. Oop, I got distracted and I'm not using my liquid cooling system yet. So, it is connected. I just need a little bit of power. Now, because I planned it like this, haha, I'm just going to run this right up here, and then I'll have a liquid valve. So that will allow me to add liquid to the loop. It's gonna be kind of hot though, so. You know what, instead of getting rid of all the sage hatches, I'll probably just wrangle them and kind of deliver them down here. That way they can just go around and eat slime or something like that. All right, so I'm expanding this cool area over here. You know, just adding more area for loops and anything else I want to kind of throw in there. All right, so I've queued up a thermal shift plate over here, just copper. I don't have diamond yet, so I know somebody's gonna ask down there in the comments. I would put diamond there, but I don't have it. Now let's see if this drops off the edge. It does! Wow, okay, that's awesome. Nice tip there. So, if you don't want to do the whole automation thing with this, just build these backwards. Well, okay, it's not necessarily backwards, but you know what I mean. Build it to the right, because you can drop it off the edge then. Yeah, where was it? Thermal shift plate, right here. Bam. So that's where the plastic is going to drop, and hopefully that thermal shift plate will help, you know, make that work a little bit better, or help cool down that plastic as it's dropping down. Ooh, oh, check this out. So, I now have petroleum inside this pipe. We're able to pump a whole bunch of it. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn that off for now. And it is waiting to cool down to the point where it can actually convey out. Let's say if it's below, what do I wanna go for? 0 degrees, then it can convey. So there goes some very, very cold petroleum. Look at how fast that's shifting down. So if this in here is above 25 degrees Celsius, then that liquid shutoff is going to be enabled, allowing liquid to flow through. And we're going to see what effect this has on the temperature inside of here. You can see the oxygen is currently 36 degrees. Wow, the oxygen dropped down really fast. Look at that. Look at that. See, now that's what I'm talking about. So right here we can see the liquid that's coming in. It's at about 7 degrees or so. It drops down, and you can see that as it's leaving, it's 24 degrees. How about that? That's happening. That's moving around really, really quick. And you can see that that area over there is much better than it was before. All right, so now I have to play a game of just how many liquid pipes can you cram into the exact same area. So I'm not going to use radiant liquid pipes for everything, because some of these runs are extra long. But I can use something like granite and that'll work out just fine. You know, and then convert over to a radiant pipe at the end. So this was all granite there, and then it's just going to be, you know, iron right there. And then on the way out, it's going to be abyssalite. And then I'm also going to have to put thermal sensors like everywhere. Everything on top of everything. That's what's going on here. Holy cow, look at this. All right, finally, just about all of the power wires have been converted over. Awesome. All of the power wires over here in kind of the main area of my base are now going to be 2 kilowatt wires instead of just like the basic wire. That's a big improvement, so things don't burn up on me. This is just ridiculous. Yeah, look at this thing go. Just watch it. The farm heats up a little bit, lets some of that gas go. It cycles, and now it's, yeah, just perfect. Liquid-wise, we're kind of seeing the same thing go on here. It's held, the temperature's good, and then we'll see the temperature goes up a little bit and brings in more nice, really cold petroleum. Temperature drops as the petroleum heats up, and the whole system just continues to cycle. So I'm digging out a space over here where I can kind of Y the connections a little bit That way I can run multiple loops off of the same feed. So each time some petroleum will enter into the system, it'll have a choice between up and down, and then I can go up and down again. So this system here should let me run 4 different loops if I wanted it to. All I have to do is plug it in, and then plug the outlet out. Doesn't really look like the plastic's cooling down at all. Yeah, it was a nice idea with the thermal shift plate, but I spent like the last 2 minutes looking all over these liquid pipes. Like, where's the one piece that isn't right? And, it's the liquid bridge. Found it. Things are starting to get a little bit complicated here with this liquid system. Just look at that for just a few minutes. So here comes some nice cold petroleum into this area. Hopefully we'll see this area get nice and cool. Hey, got a little cold down there. That's good. I might want to take some radiant pipe here and just, allow this area up here to cool a little bit more. Yeah, so now we can see as this petroleum is entering the system, one goes up, one goes down. All right, so here's what I have going on, guys. Down here, there's a little bit too much liquid. So this pipe is backed up. The rest of the water that's actually coming out of this system from processing the petroleum is heading over here to fill up the area where I'm going to be doing my cooking. The problem is that the temperature inside of here is going to pretty much end up 40 degrees Celsius because that's the outlet temperature of this liquid. So here's what I'm working on to sort of correct things like that. So what I'm going to have is a couple of inlet spots. So pretty much petroleum will come up and then I'll have several radiators of radiant pipe. And then I'll just have this exact same sequence here duplicated with the same outlet pipe. So it'll actually just be running all in the same pipe, but there's several radiators that can activate, right? So I'm basically solving my problem with more area. Ooh, man, this geyser's now erupting. Look at it go. Steam everywhere at 5.5 kilograms. Look at that. I may want to stagger this temperature-wise as I move up. So -10 works pretty good for there. If I go -7, that may kind of allow these to work almost in unison. So if this is -4, it makes sense that the hydrogen would actually warm up as it's moving away from the nullifier and going across this petroleum, which is at a higher temperature. You can see all these nice little stone hatches I have now. Looks like I have 2 big ones, 1 baby, and then a couple of eggs. That's real good. All the extra hatches that I have, they're all just ending up right down here. Somehow ended up with a bunch of water everywhere. Not sure how that happened. I did empty one of the storage containers, but did not expect this. If you take a look at the temperature, we can see that the bathroom up here is very nice as far as its overall temperature. This area here where I'm creating a lot of oxygen, that's not bad. That actually made it down to about 28 degrees Celsius thus far. You can see that some petroleum is starting to stay there and start to build up in temperature. All right, so I have this set to -10. This is set to -5, and that is set to 0. So as this is cooling down, they should enable and start to let more liquid through. That's what I'm hoping to see at least. You can see here I have a line of 4. Wow, this is a pretty good cool steam vent. See, the active period now is 90.2 cycles out of every 144 cycles. Next dormancy is in 83 cycles. So I'm going to get quite a bit of water out of this. That'll hold me over for a very long time. At least I would think so. I mean, we'll have to see. The other benefit is that I'm getting water out of this petroleum processing. I tell you what, I'm going to take this wheezewort and I'm going to put it right up here so that it kind of pushes some gas around in that area. Not only that, it'll be in hydrogen then. So one of the things I'm seeing is that I'm able to get these things to work, but I have to separate the temperatures quite a bit. So this is -10, that's 0, and that one is all the way up to 5 now. So hopefully by trying to mix up the gases a little bit by, making use of that wheezewort, I might be able to tighten this up a little bit. You can see that the temperature here is just, a little bit above. We're up to 12 there, but negative 28 and some down there. You can see I'm now up to 9.4 tons of plastic. Perfect. So one cycled, then the next cycled, and this one should go. It's good to see that they're pretty much all working. That seems to have made a little bit of a difference. There, the top one's running, the middle one's running. Does the bottom one ever get there? Let's see, if I set it to negative 9, kind of have to just see how that all balances out. There the top one goes, the middle one just ran, and the bottom one, negative 8.5. Can I do that? I suppose what I probably should do here is just disable this metal refinery over here on the right and take the runoff from this system over here on the left to power the electrolyzer, rather than pull from the puddle there. Because that's, well, that's 38 degrees Celsius. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. It's all kind of the same thing. So another spot I should add a radiator is going to be kind of in this area right there, just to kind of cool, that section of the base. It looks like this is working out okay over here as far as its temperature. That's 32, that's 25. It's all really not that bad. And as I get the base down to temperature, the liquid will start to back up a little bit, and that way I don't have to, I'll be able to focus the cooling more, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Alright, well, I've made it to cycle 300, and you know what? I think the base is in pretty good shape. Things are conveying around, storing, being called up. I've got plastic production now. I can process oil, and the power system's not blowing itself up. Not bad. Not bad at all. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode here of Oxygen Not Included, and if I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.